So let's talk about because we don't have an agenda. This is just a random party. I mean, in other words, we feel free to talk about whatever you want to talk about, something that you want to raise, whether it be some Android thing that you want to talk about, especially when it comes to those of us who are blind. Of course, this is a BAU Blind Android Users podcast. And so, if there anything that you would like to talk about, being it about Android or whatever, we want people to feel free to talk about that, or something that has been bugging you, or something that you kind of have some more insight into and would like to kind of explain that so people benefit from such an explanation. I think we could talk about those. Or if there's something going on at your end that you want to share with us, feel free to do so. And most especially, maybe Harith, he has some good food out there for me. He can talk about that food that would kind of woo me to go out to Algeria.
Come down here, brother. Look, I'd be honored. You have a brother's house here. You can have all the country's tradition food, plus my home country's tradition food, and the French cuisine, and the Moroccan cuisine, and the Egyptian cuisine that I've learned of through my years. So I'd send you back home with extra 20 pounds on you, at least.
Merci beaucoup. Oh my goodness. Hey Diane.
Hi.
I know you are in Maryland there.
Yes.
You know what? I've never been to Maryland. I think I came close when we passed through. We drove on I-95, from Syracuse, New York to Disney World. That was many, many years ago. My daughter was just like 6 months old back in 2003. And I think we touched a little bit of Maryland in there. I'm not sure, but we saw places that we stopped at, Gettysburg, that's in
Pennsylvania,
southern Pennsylvania. And then, we spent the night in some place in West Virginia. They had some wonderful, Civil War stuff there, underground things like that. So you guys, that area is full of history. I really would love to be able to go to DC in particular and, see some of those monuments. It's one of my dreams. And my family didn't quite want to do that. And so I missed out on that.
Yeah, I understand. That would be difficult with a 6-month-old.
Yeah, it was something, but
yeah,
I was excited, traveling, through those states. To me, I love history, as you can tell. I'm such a history buff, and I always want to see those historic sites.
You should come to England. We've got proper history here.
Oh yes,
even
hundreds and hundreds of years old. You say, "Oh, this is an old church." Oh, how old is it? 50 years. Oh, come on.
You can also come to India.
Exactly.
You need some people from China. And
they've got lots of history stuff.
Speaking of history, Warren, I'm from Iraq. I'm from Assyria's Nineveh, and I'm from the country of Mesopotamia. So there we go. I can throw all the history you like in your
Wow, I'm from the country of ancient
And there you go.
So
you guys are the mothers of history.
You got all the history around.
We've got some temples in here, so many monuments. In fact,
pyramids.
Pyramids.
In fact, that's just reminded me. I've got a Toblerone. I might have to grab it.
Oh my god, let's talk home. Yay! I love that.
I got 2. They had a special offer. I got one almond one and one caramel one. But talking of food, isn't Maryland full of cookies?
Full of cookies?
Yeah.
And you dragged us to a dry party.
Yeah, okay.
Aren't there Maryland cookies?
I isn't that a thing? Full of cookies. We have a lot of crab. Maryland is known for its crab.
Exactly.
Yes.
I thought they were cookies. Did I get that wrong?
You're confusing maybe the South
God.
African biscuit that's known as Mary Biscuit, and so
No,
yeah, it's
I'm sure I've heard of
Oh
Maryland
wait, we have that
cookies.
here. Oh, I hate that biscuit. It's not.
You don't like the Mary's
There you go.
biscuit?
Throw them
No.
some Irish bread and some naan bread and some Middle Eastern bread. Exactly,
Eastern
looks
bread.
like naan bread. So
I thought Maryland cookies were like chocolatey.
Oh yes, burger cookies. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They're like chocolate. they're very chocolatey.
Now, so
Chocolate.
see,
Oh,
I
Max.
kind of got repelled by that chocolatey thing because I don't like chocolate. You
I
know,
don't like any sweets.
yeah. Well,
I
I love
like
sweets. I
chocolate.
like my gummy
Yes.
bears. I mean,
Oh
I'm
God.
huge on that.
So Warren, what was the Sing Assistant about last time?
So the Sing Assistant Move. So the company, the umbrella is called Sing Assistant, and they have different products, and one of them is Move, and that Move is a navigational app. So it's a GPS app, and then they have the Home, and they have another one. And actually, they have maybe like 5 or 6 different apps on the Play Store. And so their parent company, and unfortunately, Slomir just left. I know he may be having some connectivity difficulty, but that is called Transition Technologies, and so it's a huge company in Poland. And so they got the guys, the blind guys, under the umbrella. And that blindness one is called Seeing Assistant. And so Seeing Assistant produces apps for the blind, and among them is the Move, the Home, and the other ones that I just mentioned.
How
I
about
think the
Voxmate?
Sailor
Is
or
that made
Campus.
by them? The Voxmate thing, is it made by them?
No, Voxmate is from Estonia, from our friends.
Oh, so it's kind of
What's his name? Gleb.
Baltic Sea
Yeah,
region. Yeah,
yeah, Gleb, and
that was a good app, by the way.
yeah, it's a good app.
Oh,
Hey,
let's
Slomir, you
get back.
just joined. Someone was asking about the Sing Assistant Move, what it is, and I was trying my best to explain what it is, but I think it's better off leaving it to you to explain what the Sing Assistant Move is. So if you can hear me, you just rejoined, help us tell Diane what the Sing Assistant Move is. I try to give a little bit of a background, a history to it, and all of that. So if you could let us know. Diane,
Well,
could you ask that question again? Since you asked the question, could you ask
Okay.
that question again, Diane?
There's a concrete question, because I thought if there's no concrete question, I can talk for another 5 hours.
Yeah.
So your party,
So,
No.
or maybe
Diane,
7.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So
Why
so
not?
I was interested in knowing what the Seeing Assistant about. I work for Blind Shell USA, and of course, I'm always looking for Android apps for our Blind Shell. So I'm so glad that I get a chance to talk to you and find out what your app is.
So, what can I say? Not talk too much today, about this application. I recommend you to listen to the podcast 99
Okay.
from the last week, and ask Warren. He will give you my email, and we can contact, and I will tell you, as much as you want about the Seeing Assistant Move, Seeing Assistant Home. These are the applications that we developed for several years. And the first one, Seeing Assistant Move, is the GPS navigation, very complex with many functions, rather for experienced users or users who want to be experienced. And the other one is Seeing Assistant Home, mainly that gives you these functions that you can find basically in other applications, like scanning QR codes, barcodes, magnifying glass, or electronic and then text recognition, OCR, and what else? Color, light source recognition, and but these applications are even if they do the same, the same that other application can do, they've got special functions that are, in our opinion, designed for blind people, especially for blind people. So you can find, there's always something special for in that applications that make them the usage of this application easier.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to get connected.
Yeah. Okay. So ask Warren, and be very pleased to talk to you and tell you as much as you want about these applications.
Okay,
and
great.
of course
Thank
you can download them for free from the Google Play. Try, test, and then there's no in-app purchase, all for free.
I have a question. In regards to your Seeing Assistant Home, how does that differ within other like OCRs like Envision or Lookout?
As I said before, it is very similar. Some things are working in a different way. We think as far as we test, and we know that this QR and barcode scanner is the fastest one and works very very nice, and you can not only scan barcodes, but you can also assign to this barcode your own name, and so if there's a barcode, how it works. We scan a barcode that you find on any product, I don't know, on a milk bottle of whiskey, and this goes to Google.
It should make me warm now that it's cold.
I knew what to say.
Like, what a great choice of
I know you a bit. We know each other for a week, but people, I think, are very similar, all over the world. So. So let's stay with this bottle of whiskey. You scan the barcode, you find this product in Google, and you've got 10 results or more where this product can be found. And next time, if you don't want to go to Google and search among these 10 results, you can assign your own name to that barcode, and when you choose an option, scan. Wait a second. I can't remember now the option, but there's an automatic option which will read you the name that you assign to this code, automatically without going to Google. So if that barcode is in your database, then it goes automatically.
Okay, makes sense.
And the same goes for QR codes. So or when you scan a QR code, you can receive, or another window opens, and in this window you've got a text that was encoded or decoded, and you can also turn, and this QR code will be pronounced. The text will be pronounced by the synthesis without opening any window, so you don't have to touch the screen. You don't have to do anything else. Just point at the QR code. So, for example, when you've got several documents, and you put them in some order and attach a QR code to each of them, So you very quickly you can recognize this QR codes without even touching the screen.
So,
You understand?
so let's just say, for example, you have a QR code. Does it? How would you know? Like, do you have a means of knowing that your camera is oriented the correct way before it gets the QR code?
It is always, as I said, also on the previous meeting. There's always needed some knowledge and experience from the user. You have to know how to scan the QR code. Yeah, you have to know what distance you have to put the camera, where the camera, where to point the camera, and that things. I observed, for example, that not many people know that that the camera usually in the smartphones is looking a little bit up. So when you want to scan a code and you put the camera just in the center of this code and raise the smartphone, then this code will be in the upper parts of the view, on the screen. It won't be on the center of the screen. And
but my point was, like, you don't know how would you know, like, you have a means of knowing that the camera in the QR code has been scanned, in the right position before you take the QR code. Because like some apps will tell you the direction, orientation of the camera before you take something. I'm wondering, does your app do the same thing, or how does that work?
No, there's no time. I mean,
okay.
If you point the camera on the QR code from, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 centimeters, distance, then immediately in 1 second time, the QR code will be recognized. So there's really no need to point or to. There's really no need. It goes so fast that I know that in Seeing AI, I think the application, there is this mechanism that is pointing you at the barcodes, and it tells you whether it is on the right side or left side or something like that. But in our application, we don't have it yet, let's say. But if you experience a little bit, sometimes you can ask a sighted person, and he will explain you how to keep the iPhone and all your smartphones. Sorry, iPhone. I'm saying because I'm usually using iPhone.
Right.
How to keep it in from the product. What distance? Then you exercise a little bit, and after that it will work. But you have to remember that you can't keep the smartphone too close, because not whole barcode or QR code might be in the seen. So
it makes sense.
So 20 centimeters is minimum. I'm saying that 20 centimeters is the distance more or less when you open your hand, and from the thumb to the small finger, this is the distance, about 25 centimeters. So at least that distance, yeah, and then it goes very, very fast. I was playing one time, and I attached a barcode to a battery, this round battery, and I pushed the battery under the scanner, the application, and when this battery was rolling, the scanner was able to read the code. You understand?
Okay.
So it was so fast that
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
It-
you touched on a really good point. I usually what I do, I ask sighted person once or twice about how my phone should be like pointed to a certain piece of paper if I want to scan like a document or even like a QR code or a barcode. And usually I figure it out like after 2 or 3 tries. So I think, instructions are definitely much needed in the near future if that's possible. But also having a sighted person who tell any blind how to like point their phone to certain things is definitely important, especially because not every app I think has a way for instructions. For instance, Envision, I don't think Envision does. I use Envision. Look how I think it does. Yeah. So Lookout does, but it doesn't have. So the database, for instance, I still till this day can't use Lookout as much here
Mhm.
in my country, which is sad. But
Yeah.
Envision, for instance, is like it has a wider range of users. And let's face it, it gets more updates.
Yeah, and then
So
my other question would be like, with these camera apps, since Google has introduced the guided frame, when me and Warren were talking the other day, I just don't understand why they didn't think of also adding the guided frame to the back camera. Like, if you have the front camera to do your selfie and all that stuff, they could have done the same thing with the back camera. I don't know. They didn't think about that, when they were introducing the feature.
yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that.
I too.
I don't understand.
Yeah, Gary and I, no, this is totally a different subject matter, but I just want to make one quick comment about what Slomir just said before I talk about the one that Gary just mentioned. So the reality about QR codes or barcodes, and I'm canned food, I'm looking at you. If I hold that canned food in my hand, if the thing happens to be on the other side, so it's as round or cylindrical as that battery that Slomir put a QR code on. So if I don't have that part facing my camera, of course it's not going to find it. So the trick to it is to keep rolling that thing until that thing comes to view, because let's face it, even if you are sighted, you have to roll it around to just picking it up, it's not going to show you the QR code if the side that you picked up or the side that's facing you doesn't have the QR code. You have to roll it around to see where it is, and sometimes they're at the bottom. And being blind, we don't know if I'm holding that thing, whether I'm holding that can upside down or not. I wouldn't know that, and so the best thing is to keep rolling that baby until it makes that noise or whatever, and tells you product found and tells you what it is. But talking about the guided frames, Gary and I were talking about that. I think it was either yesterday or a couple days ago.
It was 2 days ago.
Yes. And frankly, I think this is something that Google could employ for the back camera, because yes, I want to take those beautiful selfies or whatever. But then it's also important because some of us like to take pictures of our family or, friends and things like that. We want to be able to know when it is the right time to take that picture, or use the mechanism that it has for the guided frames for the selfie, whereby it will automatically start the countdown 1 or 3, 2, 1, and it just automatically captures that picture for you, and it's beautiful. So it would be great. Google, if you are listening, let's have that, shall we?
Warren, you have
might be
you have
listening.
the 7, so why don't you give the feedback with the guided frame whenever you have chance to
I
use it? So that way,
definitely will give that feedback on it, because I think we need to have it for the back camera as well. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know right now, if I point my camera, it will either say whether there's a face in the rear view, in the view of the camera, whether it's centered or not. But I think the problem that we're talking about here, and my wife has told me when I capture pictures, sometimes the picture is a little tilted, and so she has shown me a trick whereby I'm able to hold that phone in the right way to where now when I take pictures, they look good. But if you don't have that and someone showing you that, our phone should be able to tell us maybe tilt it a little bit to the left or tilt it a little bit to the right. And then when it's in perfect position, then it say hold or something.
It works so on iPhones, I think, a little
Yes,
bit.
exactly. It does so on iPhone.
Okay.
Yes, it does so on iPhone. The
They
Footbell, I
took
call
that
it.
feature, but they didn't implement it, fully. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They
So
thought of the
Google,
front camera, but the back camera, they didn't think,
they didn't
who's
think
going to be
about that.
taking. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, I think in Samsung it's actually implemented on both back and front camera, which is cool.
oh, does it tell
Yes.
you whether your phone is a little bit tilted? Maybe tilted a little bit?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I actually just tried it right
Oh,
now.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. And so Google is never late to the party. Just like if you are just joining us into this party, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. It's never late coming to the party. And Google, you are never late to this party.
Yes, the Samsung does. I checked it out. Samsung does.
Nice. So see, no one has ever mentioned that about the Samsung phones, and I'm thankful to you guys for mentioning that, because it's one of those blowbacks that you usually get about, from people from the other side, the Android phone doesn't do that. At least we have the Samsung phones doing this, and so kudos to you, Samsung. You know what? I always say, Samsung does a lot of things right, and they get less credit for what they do.
Because the competitor of
Yeah,
Samsung is Apple.
just say, hey Google, there it is on Samsung. Do your thing.
Yeah,
Copy.
exactly. Exactly. And most especially when they're so much in bed with Samsung. Take all the niceties from Samsung and bring it to the Pixel phones.
I agree, Warren, because look, that would be the whole point of the collaboration. You have a big, OEM, Samsung, that always goes toe to toe with, Apple. Why not, use their, their R&D, because they come up with, all kinds of weird ideas that, then they become the market leader. So why not take advantage of a partner that you have in-house and get all the R&D information, and you can use it in your own product and services.
Exactly.
Well, at the same time, Google has what is it? The call screening? Yeah, call screening. And the voice typing. Samsung doesn't have that. Well, okay. It has no, it doesn't, because I'm using Google's phone app to get rid of those spam callers and stuff like that. But Google does have some stuff of its own.
They sure do. They do have a lot of stuff, especially, and sometimes these things are exclusive to the Pixel line of phones. And I hope that these things kind of get trickled down to, other, brands as well. One of those examples, Devin, you just mentioned that, call screening and that hold for me. I use that hold for me a lot when I'm calling businesses that want you to be there on hold for, 15, 20 minutes or whatever. I just let the assistant do the holding for me while I go about doing my stuff. And it's such a handy tool. And also that direct my call, something I think I did as a tip of the week for one of our episodes, probably episode 97 or 98. I don't remember, but it's a handy tool, and Google gives you those ahead of time, so you don't have to listen to get to this one, press this. So it shows you those, so you could just tap on that and not, it saves you a lot of time that way.